I've been looking forward to today for a very long time. It's the Brighton Diver Pollock competition out of Brighton Marina. Unfortunately, the wind's also been looking forward to it and it's blowing a hoolie far too strong to go out to the mid-channel wrecks where we would be to try and catch pollock. So what Paul, the captain's going to do is take us just out the harbour a little way, probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles, to a mark that he's found while diving where some big plaice live. We're going to spend our day, instead of fishing for long, round things, for flat, round things. I'm looking forward to that as well. The rig's quite simple. On the end of the braid I've got about 3 metres of 20-pound breaking strain mono, which is this, and then sliding on that is a sliding boom there with a 4-ounce ball weight on the end. That's heavy enough to hold bottom if I want it to, but I can just bounce it down the tide a little bit. There's a big buffer bead, a nice working swivel tucked away inside there, and then a long trace. The trace is 3 metres long, and that's 20-pound breaking strain fluorocarbon, and on the end of that is a variety of beads and spinner blades, and they're particularly attractive to plaice and dabs, flounders, all other flatfish, and a size 1/0 hook, 1/0 hook. If I was only fishing for dabs, I'd be fishing with a smaller hook. Because there's a pretty good chance of a plaice out here, I've kept the bigger hook on so I can load it with more bait. And then on that I'll go lugworm, ragworm. In this instance we've got ragworm, we've got razorfish, we've got squid. We haven't got any lugworm. Lugworm would be better for the dabs, but more likely catch plaice on the ragworm, and especially with the razorfish and ragworm cocktail. Trick is to drop it down quite slowly to stop that long trace spinning up and tangling, and also helps stream it out in the tide, because what we're doing is sort of, although the tide's not very strong, just walking the bait away from the tide by lifting the lead and let it move slightly, a metre or so at a time. We're in about 35 feet of water. There's a decent bit of tide running now. I've still only got 4 ounces of lead on, but this is very thin braid and it doesn't need much lead to hold it down there. Hoping for a bite from literally anything that swims. Could be anything along here. There's a lovely dab.
Little fish. It's smooth one way and rough the other way. Difference between dab and plaice.
Well, the tide's starting to pick up a little bit now. We've been out a couple of hours, and now there's a bit of movement. Just started to get the odd bite. Paul just had that lovely little dab, and I've had a couple of signs. Just rebaited this rod to put out, casting down the tide. Now it's time to wind in the other rod and see if the little bit of activity has turned into a fish of some kind. Be some kind of disturbance to the status quo. But there is a double header. A dab for me and a dab for Paul. They sometimes describe dabs as postage stamp size. Well, that one's definitely not first class, is it? We'll put him back. Beautiful little fish though, look at that. Just immaculate, lovely little yellow spots. Perfect condition. Just about half the size I want it to be. You got another one there, Skip? No, there's a bigger one. He's catching my dinner. Well, there's a nice little bite identified by the captain there while I was busy doing something else. And there's a fish of some description on him. If it's a dab, it's a nice one. Might be a flounder. I've already had one or two flounders. A couple of dabs, let's see. Oh yeah, that's a dab. Stop it being blown away. They're quite voracious little fish, greedy little devils. There he is, hooked through the top lip. Beautiful flesh, much nicer, I think, than plaice. And obviously, unfortunately, not so big. Well, I don't think anyone could argue that it would have been complete insanity to try and go out there and fish today. It's blowing 30 miles an hour, even in the shelter of these cliffs. But we've managed to get a day's fishing, we've managed to catch a few fish. Nothing really to write home about, but certainly something to take home from the tea. I've got a mess of dabs, and they'll be filleted and just fried in a little bit of butter and lemon. Go on, you're feeling hungry already, aren't you? See, you can have a good day, even when the weather says you can't.